This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, folks. We will open this meeting on December 14th, 2023. I'd like to open this with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Folks, we have a jam-packed agenda, and there's a lot that you do not see here. So please keep your comments and we try to keep it to the subject, please, tonight, so that we can get out at least by 10. We have a public hearing to accept the funds at DOT. Mr. DeCormier would like to speak to the board. How does the board feel about that?
I have no feelings.
I can give you 5 minutes. I've got to open up a public hearing. Time is yours. 5 minutes. I will warn you, if it's about an employee, we will not be entertaining any discussion about it.
It's just
Okay.
about some work that has been done
Okay,
with DPW. And I didn't know if it was going to be addressed or not in the near future. Let's see about the work that was done on,
You gotta speak into the mic.
on Pest House and behind the police station. As far as erosion control, it hasn't been addressed since it was done. There isn't any check dams or hay socks or matting to control the erosion in the roadway, and it has, and I got the pictures.
you're talking about Pest House for the,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. And it has filled up the basin and the exit pipe, if you'd like to look. This is coming off the Pest House onto Caleb Hill Road. You can see the erosion.
Hmm.
And then I can show you some other pictures,
Okay,
and I'll show everybody quickly. So that was coming off the road itself, Pest House, that was dug up and redone. And then, and I have some pictures here if you'd like to see. In proper protocol for best manager practices, call for check dams, hay socks for this reason, for the erosion. And with these pictures, you can see how it deteriorated the ditch line. And like I said, it went down into the basin and it actually plugged up. There's the outlet of the pipe itself on the other side going onto private property.
mhm.
So these things haven't been addressed. It wasn't done properly. And therefore, it needs to be before, honestly, with the rain coming, even more rain, it's gonna freeze up, or it has the potential of freezing up and causing ice on the roads and whatnot. And then, so that was the Pest House issue. The second issue was behind the police station on the spoils piles for the concrete pad. You have a retention pond right there behind with the rock line ditch. And them spoils piles are supposed to be, should be, have silt fence or hay socks or whatnot to control the runoff into your retention ponds. I mean, it's required by everybody else.
The retention pond ours? I thought that was Tanger's. It's ours?
And
Okay.
located there, it's ours.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's why, I mean, any private contractor or a state or whoever is required to, like I said, by BMP requirements, should be addressed
Mhm.
for that reason. So them two things. And then the other simple last one was, and this is being your bet, I'm surprised it hasn't been addressed yet. All that curbing laying down there right next to the old mill. To me, that's tripping hazard. It's a hazard laying out there. Why it's not even coned off at the least, never mind taped off. Should be honestly removed and taken care of. It's just gonna lay out there. So them are just some concerns that should be addressed, especially the erosion. So,
What was that? I was looking at the picture.
yep, absolutely.
The curbing,
Oh, yeah, okay.
curbing on the,
So,
along the river.
so that's all I have to say that. And then the other one, I see you have an ad in the paper. It says the job is dependent on experience for the
Mhm.
salary. What's 30 years experience get you?
I'm not sure that's an appropriate question to ask in an open forum.
And I'm not sure I know
Well,
exactly what you're referring to.
It gets you the
You got a couple
ability to fill out
positions.
the application.
Oh, it
Correct.
does, but it doesn't have a salary range.
You
Correct.
gotta fill out the application,
You have
go
to
through the process.
Right,
Is that it?
exactly,
Okay.
right. But I appreciate you bringing these items to our attention.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Okay, that's it.
All right,
Short and sweet.
thank you.
Have a good night. Thank
You
you.
too. Thanks,
Thank you.
Dana.
We should let the public works.
They'll be in later with us tonight.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They need to.
But I
Bring it up.
have a quick question for you, probably you, Catherine. Wasn't at one time Pest House, when the picture that he just showed us, when they come down, wasn't there, not only that, but didn't it come down further into the other way, almost into like a V entrance when you go in at one time? When did it stop doing that? Because that's part of the drainage there as well, because it comes, when you come down Pest House, it kind of splits like this and it goes right into the drain, which is right there on the bottom. I came to Caliph yesterday and saw that it's kind of overgrown, and now they're just coming down Pest House and coming off of that.
Yeah, I
Like-
think they have to go and look at it again. And one of the problems is, and I saw it and forgot all about it, just figuring they'd take care of it.
Right.
There are no, that's pretty steep.
Yes, right, it
And
is.
There's nothing to check the flow of water.
Right,
Yeah.
Usually
true.
there's,
right,
2-inch stone in there. Or
yes.
1.5-inch stone in there to
And there's nothing.
check dams.
But on,
There's
and
nothing in there to
Right.
slow that flow of water.
No.
and
it's
on
gonna
the
go
other
right out.
side, there's just that hump there
Yeah.
to check it, which throws it all onto the other side. But if that hump wasn't there, it would throw it into the drain.
They've got to go back and readdress.
Okay. So we'll try to keep it to a minimum and try to bring up, maybe if we could talk to them tonight about it. We don't want to overload either on that.
And they should pick up the curbing for the winter.
Yeah, if it's not gonna go in right now, then they should just
Well, the
take it,
ground's frozen.
take it back, yeah.
Yeah, for safety reasons, yeah. I agree with you. Okay, we have 5 minutes to the very quick public hearing. Christmas. We haven't talked about employee Christmas, and we haven't, last year we gave them gift cards. Do you want to do the same thing?
Was that a popular option last year?
Yes, it was a popular
Well,
option.
there you go. And it goes more to
Right. The other thing,
me.
the other thing was the half day before it ends up being on a Friday.
Mhm.
I don't know what you want to do with that.
Didn't we do either? It's an either or thing because they got a half day off or they got money.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
they either got the half day off and we had a party, or now they're getting money.
The gift card.
And now this is, I'm hearing both.
Well, last year we got, because it was during the week, they got the half a day off and the gift card.
Uh-huh.
This time it ends up being on a Friday. It's up to the board.
Don't we have a lot to do? Can we talk about this when they get here?
We'll get
Just
to
for
it.
everybody.
This is everybody.
Everybody,
This is everybody. This is a general kind of a thing. We'll
Well,
put it,
since the day before Christmas is a Friday, they still have Saturday and Sunday to prepare for Christmas. I mean, that's typically why you gave them the half day. So is there a reason to give a half day? Have they requested a half day, the employees?
I know we used to have a potluck that was,
Yeah,
you know,
there was
Friday.
always a party and whatnot,
Yeah.
Captain. I
You know, at like
think you went to those.
noon or 1, I don't know what time. And we always had a potluck.
just keep it as the Friday as a full day and then Saturday and Sunday. Okay. Consensus? Everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, keep it a full day on Friday. Okay. Got that, Tim?
Yes.
Full day? Okay. All right. Okey doke. One more minute. Okay, we will open the public hearing in accordance with RSA 3195, 31:95B to take action on the receipt of $19,029.76, which would authorize the selectmen to accept and expend with no further action by the town of unanticipated monies distributed by the state of New Hampshire for the fiscal year special block grant A. This is extra money from the block grant, which allow from the highway and bridges. Anyone want to speak about it? Comment on it? Nobody. Okay. We have opened the public hearing and we can now close the public hearing, hearing no comment. That's done. Tim, where'd you go?
He slipped into Leanne's office. There he is.
Hey, Tim? Do you have something for like 15 minutes that you wanna? Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
This Veterans Credit
Yep.
Qualification Worksheet, who reviewed this?
Lauren usually reviews those.
It's not signed. And it,
In the front, the other two, are they signed?
only by Selectmen.
In the front part of it? I thought I saw a signature in the front.
Well, I think that's the applicant. This is
The worksheet.
This is the form on the bottom. It says documentation reviewed by, application approved by. I mean, in the past, when I've seen these, it says, Lauren,
Lauren,
and
right,
it says approved or denied.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
This doesn't.
well, then that we should kick that one back.
So I don't know. No,
Those are her that's her writing on the applications
okay. I
there.
don't know where this came from, so I'm not going to sign it.
Okay. All right, pass those back. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, Tim, do you have anything,
Yeah,
just
I
for a
do.
couple minutes?
So on my report, I can handle number 3, which is the year-end discussion. So we're on track after all projected 2023 expenses are done to have about $300,000 additional in the coffers from this year. So in other words, our expenses are $300,000 less. And I'm anticipating we may do a little bit better than that due to revenues. Revenues were slightly increased, partly because of state monies that we received, not including that tonight. So I've gone through with the encumbrances and looked at what I would recommend. So for the 2024 Tahoe, I recommend that we encumber $35,000, which would go about halfway towards the totally outfitted cost of $70,000 for a 24 Tahoe with all the equipment on it. And the additional monies would come from the forfeiture fund and also the revolving fund for the PD. So that's $35,000 I'm recommending to encumber for that. I've asked the chief to get information, to get an estimate from regarding the state bid price, which is I think 40,000 and change, and then also get the bid from the upfitter. We don't have any of those yet, but if we do have that by next meeting, that would be my recommendation. In addition, we had discussed before the storage container for recycling bales. Once those bales are done, there needs to be a place where they can be stored, a dry place. And so we need to determine the size, get pricing, and then order if we want to encumber those this year. And the same thing for the line painting machine. The former director had discussed that it was at the end of its useful life, and that would require getting some pricing and again, determining which we were going to order and then get that ordered this year so that we could encumber those funds from 2023. So those are my 3 recommendations. I can tell you when we go through the budget portion that the encumbrance that we discussed last week for the server installs can actually be expensed in this year in order to get the lowest rate. And so that's in one of my other items in number 4. But in any case, those are my 3 recommendations for the encumbrances.
Tim, are we going to put the generator, are we going to do that as an encumbrance, that
We could.
The
I'm
quotes that
glad you
we have-
reminded me. That is about. I had seen one of the quotes. I think both quotes didn't exceed $9,000 for the gas work and for the electrical and a small concrete pad. So that I'll make sure that we have that for this next week. That would be about. I know it was less than $10,000.
I know the electrical and the gas was about 64.
Okay, so maybe it's much less than 9,000. So in any case, I'm sure that there'll be room to be able to encumber that as well. And if we already have the quotes for that, it'll be easy to encumber. Like I said, someone's going to need to work on the quotes for the line painting and storage container, particularly determining where the storage container would go and what the size would be.
Got it.
So next week at the meeting on the 21st, we would need to act on those. And hopefully we'll have all the documentation we need to do so.
And then if need be, we're going to be meeting on the 28th to follow up on encumbrances. Or are we going to nail it on
Well,
the 21st?
Hopefully we can get what we need by next week.
Okay. Oh,
Jeannie
good.
will be back on Wednesday, and I know that she has a couple of them.
Okay. All right. Any comments from the board?
Thank you for all your work and effort on this issue.
You're welcome.
It's a thing. I know it's a thing.
It's a thing.
Okay.
We'll do some more minutes.
What's that?
Want to get some minutes?
We don't have any.
No.
Pat, I think I passed Tim's report down in the to be signed file.
Yes.
If I didn't, I've lost it.
Well, I'm not giving it to you.
I can
Pass it
make
down.
you a copy.
No,
I got it.
I
Oh, you
did.
have it. Okay.
You'll need it for later.
Thank you.
We're all set. So, okay. The time being 5:08. I'd like to make a motion to go into non-public per RSA 91A:32, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of public employee, the disciplining of such employee, or investigation of any charges against them, unless a public employee affected has the right to a public meeting, request the meeting be open, in which case the shall be granted, and that which discussed in public would adversely affect the reputation of others.
Second,
Roll call vote.
Jessamine, yes.
Ruggles, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
Dawson, yes.
Constantino, yes. I kind of screwed up on this one. I didn't record. Go ahead. We'll continue. We can take the notes on this one.
So you're a non-public?
Yep.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, you're back on.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public because disclosure would adversely affect the reputation of another person other than a member of the board permanently.
Second.
All those in you seconded. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Can someone go down and let the people,
Yeah, I can do
folks
that.
come up? Or I can text Jane, whatever. I have a terrible headache, so you folks are gonna have to help me out with this combination meeting here.
What it's about?
About.
It's a
It's the
continuation
continuation of the
Okay.
conservation,
of the committees and boards.
Oh,
Got it.
I thought it was a separate thing.
and we gotta keep it to a minimum here, because we are packed. I mean, we still got another non-public to talk about personnel. Did you restart that?
I thought we turned it off because that
I know,
records
but
the
if you
non-public.
restart it, it starts another session.
Yeah, so I stopped it. So the next time we put it on, it'll start another session. I got it. Remember, I'm the assistant to the
Red
technology director.
Is
But you,
on?
It's off. It's
Red
off.
is on.
gotta
Red
start
is
it again.
Yeah, we'll
run.
start it again.
Red is run.
anybody want a root beer ball? Whatever you call them?
Sure.
These things are gonna go by the end of the night.
Well-
Those are good. He put something else in there.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. We did
Well,
that.
like mint or something.
No, he said the Andes candies.
Oh.
Somebody said it was potluck, so.
But no, that's next.
No,
Remember,
no,
the
no, I
recording is
wouldn't
still
do
on.
that to you. I would never do that to you.
I
That's
like
the
that
kind
right
of
about
things
now.
you give a heads up on.
I like that right about now.
I can see the headlines now. That's all we need.
Dad's old fashioned.
Just open it. Push it.
There you go.
There you go.
Speaking of Sandy Plessner, oh, look at that. It's Joe and Debbie. Hello.
That's right.
Hi, Deb.
Hello, Sandy, Jane. It's like old home day here. Billy Lawrence, Mrs. Mitchell. How are you? And my old pal, Bob Hardy. Good evening.
No, old.
Old pal, yeah. Well, at this point, anybody who's my pal is an old pal.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. I was hiding behind that.
Hey, Scott.
No, I'm representing Chuck Drew.
It's cold up there. Would I win?
Okay, thanks. I was just making sure everybody signed everything.
Okay.
You in charge of that
Okay.
case.
Okay, good evening, folks. Welcome Parks Commission and the Tilton Senior Executive Committee. We invited you here tonight so that we could open communications with the board. We had conservation and planning and zoning a few weeks ago. So welcome again. I see familiar faces anyway. So we're interested in hearing from you folks as how we could open communications, better communications, what's going on, if there's any issues, so on and so forth. So go ahead.
Is this on? Okay,
Mhm.
great. No, I'm just curious. So you want the Board of Selectmen, you want open connections, communications with all the other boards?
We're hoping to.
I mean, why don't you just send emails to all of us?
Well,
We all
we
have
like-
emails.
Well,
I mean, that's just a way of thinking. If you've got something that you're percolating in your mind and you want to get some feedback, just blast it out to everybody in that. And of course, make sure you notate where it's from and what your concerns are so that we could just respond. I mean, to me, that's the simplest way. Anybody else?
okay.
I think going on with that a little bit, I know there's been a lot of change as far as personnel and the building was closed down. But when I sent in the agenda to be posted on the bulletin board and the kiosk, I had no idea who should get it. I'd always send it to the administrative assistant, but there were new names and I was trying to find out who. A simple email saying to all the chairs or what you're saying, all the commission saying, if you have a question, call this person. It's taken about a week and a half. We finally, a bunch of emails. I would email Suzanne and say, do I send this to you or to her? And she wasn't sure at first. And so I sent it to everybody. I figured somebody's going to find it. But it would have just helped a little bit, a smidgen. And my second comment, if I can be pushy here.
Oh, who's going to stop you?
You're on a roll.
I really like the idea of meeting with you, not to complain or not to say, well, this isn't working, but just 15 minutes sometime next summer. Set up a time at one of these meetings. Parks, come in. What are you doing?
Yep.
What would you like us to be doing?
Mhm.
How, we're a team and we do our work. You do it up here. We do it downstairs in the little meeting room. But maybe once a year, just kind of get together for a short period of time at a meeting and just talk about what's going on. I mean, do you know our mission statement? It's just little things that we could be better acquainted and maybe have a good time laughing about things and enjoying life.
I think it's a good point. And I think that a lot of different commissions and boards do not know each other's mission statements. Like you wouldn't know the executive committees either. So it's a very good point. Thank you. And if I'm still on the board next year, I promise we can do that. Go ahead, Bob.
At the same thing Kathy was saying, I think we need to have this open communications. I mean, like all of a sudden I got an email from Susan asking all these park questions. And it's like, who the heck is this woman asking all these park questions? And what authority does she have? I didn't know until I finally sent to Kathy. I said, do you know who this person is? I says, I'm going to, I had sent Jeannie an email actually asking, hadn't heard anything. So I really think you as a select board need to get the word out when there is personnel change, who the board should be contacting. Like I know if we've got a problem at the park, I used to reach out to Kevin. Well, now that Kevin's gone, who do I reach out to? I mean, I didn't check today, but as of Wednesday this week, the trash from the Christmas parade was still under the pavilion. It hadn't been picked up or anything because I don't think they knew to swing by, pick it up, put the trash cans back in the bathrooms and everything. So, and there's other issues down there. The other big problem that I have is I don't think we're getting the police walking through the park. I mean, I don't know if you saw the damage that was done Halloween night there on the walls and everything. Somebody painted, I guess, from what the police say it was paint, it looked like blood to me, the riverside of the pavilion walls with these dribbles. The post by the kitchen door, both of the posts were covered with handprints in red with dribbles coming down. And Jim Cropsey actually reached out to the police department. I called Tim because I knew Tim could look at the cameras, and he says, Bob, I don't have time. I've got you set up to look at the cameras. Can you go through? So I took the time because the police asked Tim to look at it. And it doesn't seem to me that that's Tim's responsibility to be looking at the cameras. I know the police department has access to those cameras. Well, lo and behold, there was a Halloween party behind the pavilion on the right outside the kitchen doors that went on for almost 3 hours out there on the cameras. And they stayed behind because driving the main street, you couldn't see them or anything. And they were having a good old party there. And at one point, one of the individuals walked around to the bathroom, came back, and kept rubbing his arm down the wall and was leaving either blood or paint smears on the wall. And it's like, where is the police presence here? How come this party's going on for 3 hours and nobody's even thought to look behind the pavilion? So that's about all I have.
Thank you. And so we did have Public Works here earlier, and it's going to be Pete and Shane sharing the duty. So if you want to, we'll get in touch with them to let them know about the trash, or if you want to contact, it's both Shane and Pete.
How do we contact them? Kevin, I used to email.
They have emails, and before you leave, Tim will give you their emails.
Okay, thank you.
All right, they just got them. Okay.
Thanks.
So, yeah, both of them, and they're going to share the duties, and we went over a couple of things, but we didn't go over anything to do at the park. So the trash, I mean, we could probably have that taken care of. What? Okay, good, thanks. Tim made a note to have that taken care of. Anyone else? Back there, way back there, go ahead. Iris?
Thank you. So I'm on the executive board for the senior center. My name's Iris Iano. I just wanted to say, as far as our communication goes, we don't have regular meetings. So sometimes when things are between meetings, for instance, we had a problem with the ramp because somebody had hit it, and it got repaired right away. So that was good. But it's we don't know who did it. We don't have cameras that work to be able to tell these things, so we don't know what's going on. And then, we'll get a call. Well, you're there. Didn't you see? No, we didn't see. And in fact, I had pulled up to there and didn't even notice it, but somebody else had came in and told me. So I called and contacted Pat by texting, and she sent Kevin right down, and it got repaired. So that was good. What was the other thing I was going to talk about? I forgot already. I should have wrote it down. Oh, so another thing is, and this is a question that I have. So the generator that was given to us from the town so that we can make the senior center a place that everybody can go to during storms, whether it's ice storms or snowstorms, or in the summer if it's too hot and they don't have air conditioning. And we had asked, Tim had explained to us that it wasn't this big giant one, it was a nice small one. So at that meeting, the executive board meeting, we asked whether it could be put in the same side in the front, well, actually on the side, but in the same side that the air conditioning unit is on, with enough space between so they wouldn't interfere with each other. And now it got put in the back. We don't know who decided that. And now we're hearing, tonight was the first time that I heard that it's going to cost us a lot of money to run gas lines and electric lines. And my question is, like, should that be a public thing? Like, should the public know that that money's going to be spent on that, when maybe if it was put in the other place closer to the lines and closer to the gas lines, it would be much cheaper to do? So that's my question as far as communication goes. Like, where should that communication have come? From the select board, from the executive board? I don't know. That's all I have. Anybody else?
Thank you, Iris. They couldn't put the slab in the side by the air conditioning because they have to have a certain amount of footage for venting.
Correct.
and it has to be 10 feet, and you don't have 10 feet. And that was explained at our executive meeting. You don't have that 10 feet of venting. So the slab had to be put in the easiest spot, and that was out back where they could do it. So it's costing us that amount of money because the gas line has to go from the back to the front because they can't run it underneath under the building. You have to be so many feet away from a building, and you can't, the machine itself, when it's running, it has to be venting away from the building, 10 feet away from the building, and it has to go venting away from the building, not towards the building. And you have to be 10 feet. It's not like the air conditioning unit, which is only 2 feet. Right. Anyone else? Anybody else have?
Just checking, what concerns did you all have, that you're brought this meeting forward?
So I guess one of the things, my concern is that when we look at the budget for ourselves, a lot of things, the different departments that come through the outside agencies, that we used to go and all, get invitations of what's meeting when, the agendas, so that we as selectmen could attend that, and we're not getting those. So I haven't seen that. That would have been really helpful because we're going to have to, look at these.
If I understand, do you want that during budget season? Do you want to be invited to the different meetings?
That's what I thought, an agenda for what agencies, if the library or the Pines or that are showing up, so we can, and so what I do now is I have to look at your videos, which is fine, but sometimes I might want to go to attend certain ones,
You're
but
talking about when they appear before the
Yeah.
budget
I
committee.
think they're
Yeah.
talking about before they appear to the budget committee, Sandy.
yeah, just that one session.
Budget committee should have-
Gave our agendas, noted that here.
Yeah, we used to get them in emails.
But I mean, it's right on the town website. Have to go look at our agenda.
But we're saying, and it's like the same thing, like you were telling, we email you stuff and all that too. It's not to be picky. It would be nice. It would be nice to have it. Yeah.
Well, we used to do that, but we have a new
Or any-
secretary.
Hmm.
Yeah, just would help. Yeah, or any information so we can. That's all I can think of.
Go ahead, Scott.
So, being the alternate ex officio for the parks this year, a little bit of an eye opener is, and I'll just ask the question, if we could consider going forward, doing an automated request for reservations instead of the handwritten ones, because I know in seeing the litany of questions that's come across the screen sometimes. The other thing with the automation and being able to do it through the Google system is that it then can get put right into the Google Calendar, which can get shared to everyone on the Parks Committee. And then you're going to see if there's any conflicts, et cetera, et cetera. So just an idea. And I'm not trying to speak for Tim, but I've set up automated stuff through Google. It's not difficult to do the same exact questionnaire that you have handwritten onto a Google form that people can just click on, fill out, and then it populates to everyone. Like it could go right to the secretary and to the entire Parks Commission at the same time, so everyone could see it. So
Can you
just
do
to
that
see
for
if-
the senior center rental too?
So could I? Yeah, you could do it for any
Okay,
of them. I
you're
believe.
hired.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
The other night, and it's
Oh, the rental, the rental application needs to be updated. It's, it is updated that somebody pulled out an old application somewhere because we have new personnel. Sorry about, but we,
Scott, the question again, automated system is how does the person then make the deposit?
So I think that would be the one where they might have to come in person and hand it over. But it could also prevent, if someone requests the same date instead of coming in, then we can say, no, that date's not available. So, here are the other dates available. But
Be pending.
yeah, it could be
Right.
pending deposit.
Pending, and then you come in, you have so many days to bring in the deposit, then it's confirmed.
Yeah.
That'd be,
Yeah.
Well, it has to be
I kind of
approved.
like that idea.
It has to be approved by the park commissioners
Correct.
as well.
Same with the executive committee. Has to be approved.
So it wouldn't populate the calendar, or it would
It
just say
wouldn't-
pending.
But it
It wouldn't-
reserves that spot, so when
Pending.
downstairs in the office, they say, oh, somebody already has an application in for that time.
And you can, when you click submit, the submission can go to not only the secretary, but the Parks Commission too.
Right.
So everyone can see when those submissions come in, and then you finalize it, obviously, when the deposit comes in.
Right.
So,
Can you make it so it tells the applicant it's pending approval?
sure, I think, yeah, you can do just about anything with it.
Tim
So,
says yes.
yes. His assistant.
I
says
like that
yes.
idea. I'm thrilled. I can't wait for Scott to finish for the executive committee.
I've got 2 weeks off, Pat, so we'll see what happens. So.
You heard him. 2 weeks from now.
No. I said I had 2 weeks off. I didn't say.
Oh, okay. Yep. Emily, go ahead.
No, I don't have a question. I would just like to, as part of the executive committee, to invite any of the selectmen that have not been to the center and to come and see what we do and how it is run. I think that's a big part of our communication. A lot of people think that it's simple and easy. Well, we all know it isn't, but I think they all should come in and see what goes on and why, what's happening and how we do serve the people
Good stuff.
of every community, not just Tilton. We have Gifford, Campton, we have a couple that comes down from.
Mike.
Oh, it's still on? Okay. We have people that come from all over New Hampshire. Last night we had a couple. She sings in the symphony at Interlakes. Her and her husband came to spend the night just to do something different, and they had supper, and it was just so I'm inviting you as part of the committee to come and visit, come and have a meal. I don't think I've seen more than 2 of you there, except Joe in the kitchen with me, that has actually come to see what we really do, And it's sad because we have one of the better senior centers in the state of New Hampshire, and there isn't anybody that comes to the door that will not tell you the same.
Right.
They feel so welcome, and so they just wish that they did the things that we do in their town, and it's just not happening. So it's that time of season. Come see us and have a coffee and a cookie. We have beautiful desserts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Saturday morning, we're having breakfast with Mr. and Mrs. Claus from 8 to 11. Big buffet going on. So come and see us. Joe's gave me a few hints over the phone this week, so we've got it made. We've got it made, Joe. We got it. So
There you go.
hopefully we can see you people. So come and see us. We love you.
Thanks, Em. Okay. Go ahead.
Is there still an economic development committee?
Yeah.
It is. We haven't met in a long while. So some of the changes that are taking place in the town have also influenced that as well.
Right.
So.
Correct. Anyone else?
I guess I've got a couple questions, additional ones. You were talking about the budget season, knowing. And 2 years ago, I think it was, we turned general maintenance at the park over to the DPW. Is that still, it was at the board's of selectmen's recommendation that we turned those over. Now that we're down a director and everything, I mean, to be honest, we had a lot of issues this past summer that we asked Kevin to work on, and he said, yes, I'll work on it as I have time. And they never
got done?
never got done. I mean, there is no running hot water at the park.
Hmm.
And we've got a brand new hot water heater, but it doesn't work for some reason. And we asked Kevin if he could get that working so that when you went in, the faucets in the bathroom, you push the lever down, and unless you hold the handle on, you get no water out. There's supposed to be a spring that time that doesn't work. There's baseboard around it in the bathroom that needs to be re-cemented to the wall. That didn't get multiple issues. So we're just wondering if we should take it back and hire contractors to do this, or if DPW is going to be able to.
Not in the short term, Bob.
What's that?
Not in the short term.
But
I think that's something we should talk about because it's budget season. And it's going to take a while to hire a DPW director and get them on board. Go ahead, John.
do you know if it's been winterized?
The park has been winterized.
It has
yes.
been winterized. So the bathrooms are shut off and everything now. So that's going to be something towards springtime. We got to come up with a resolution
Right,
as
but
to what.
we need to know if we're taking over
Right.
this responsibility
The budget.
so we can roll it into our budget.
Right.
Because Kevin, we reduced our budget and Kevin took on that in the public works budget.
So we have to
Same
get
way-
that budget by January, the first hearing. We have to have that number in there. We'll have to figure that out. February 1st.
Yeah, it is a
Second.
separate, there is a separate line in the DPW budget for that. So if the board wished, that could just simply
Move the money.
be moved. Yeah.
So I think we can figure that out before that time.
Right.
So, okay, I just wanted to be aware. The other issue, I believe, was brought before the board, and I haven't heard anything from the board back to us as far as what's happening, is the
February
fence
9th.
line at the Civil War monument,
We
where that stands, and
we were getting estimates on fencing for the back part of it.
right.
And that's as far as we got. We were getting different quotes on a couple of different materials from what I understand. And we have not heard back from that yet.
Because if you look at it, there's repeated entry
Mm-hmm.
into the park from that back section, and it's kind of pushing the fence open more, and there's a pathway developing there, which we really, on the park commission, we bought.
With dogs.
With dogs.
I'm assuming it's with dogs, I can't
Oh, I
say.
know it is.
Oh, it's with dogs. I've seen it.
Many times.
Okay, well, it's gotta be many times because the path is getting well worn in the lawn, so.
No.
Once you're aware of them.
We're working on.
I've
fixing
seen
that
them, but
fence.
the people that I've seen with dogs have always had dog bags too. So, but yes, I agree. We'll have to speak with Jeannie because Jeannie had that information. When she comes back on the 20th, we'll figure it out. Em, do you had a question?
The heat tapes at the center,
Yep. Talk right into the mic there.
they haven't been checked.
Yeah.
No.
He's
not
been up.
underneath.
Underneath the building?
Right, and they never took the old heat tape out of the gutter. They plugged both of them in, so one's working and one isn't. I thought they were gonna take it out last year when we mentioned it, but they didn't. This year, they just went back up and plugged them both in. Okay, we'll have to send
Mm.
And DPW. I do have the heat tape turned on in by Cindy's office, just in case the temperature do drop that low. But underneath, and nobody to go down to do whatever. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that there was heat tape underneath the kitchen floor. There is, John. Yeah.
4 years ago.
Where is that hooked into?
I
I
can't
thought you
remember.
just.
Do you have any blueberry pies? Do you have any blueberry pies? We might be able to have some type of arrangement to check that out.
And he wants it to take one home if he goes downstairs and checks. That's what he's saying. And I can give you a big honk, but if you come after Tuesday, I'm not around.
That is hysterical.
They could let us know where are we with the extra struts or whatever you call them that the jacks that they ordered. Did we get them yet?
I don't know, but we could take that up at an executive meeting, I think. That would be really,
Yeah.
but we could ask DPW. Kevin was going to put extra jacks underneath
thought
the
he said
struts,
that he
but he
raised
only
it up.
put one, but he needed a couple more.
So if somebody goes under there for
A pie.
can they take pictures? Take pictures of so everybody can see what's under there, and then you guys figure it out.
Yep.
What am I getting myself into? So somebody's got that rope around me. Like,
He'll need a pie. Just remember, he needs a pie.
is that a 10-inch pie or is it the 9-inch pan? I'll do it. You guys are always good to everybody else, so. And I appreciate it. I've had some very fine meals there.
Thank you very much. Good one coming up Saturday.
I know, I can get in.
Remember, they committed to the pie, not me, John. I've made way too many for him. Okay, any more questions? Because we got to move on. Any? All right.
Thank you for
I
coming.
appreciate you coming. And opening up, and hopefully we get moving on this. Kathy, huh? If I don't see you, have a happy holidays, folks.
Thank you all.
Bob, call me when I win, okay? Call me when I win. Thanks. Oh, okay. I look forward
Oh, I
to it.
know.
Oh, I didn't know Jane was here.
Nice to see you, Sam. Bye-bye.
There you go. I'm sure it'll be good.
Let him know that I gave.
I will, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, I'll.
There you go. So you got sucked right into that. Won't be that big deal, really. Oh, man, look at
What do they volunteer for?
Okay, moving right along, we have Tim.
Yes, on my way. Okay, so going back to my my report, so I wanted to cover items in the budget and have the board thinking about if you want to make some changes. These are some of the things that that I had come up with. So last night at the budget committee meeting, there was a big discussion with the chief regarding staffing levels. And my recommendation would be, because there was a lot of push to see about maybe removing one of the officers, the open officer, from the PD budget. So that officer full cost over the course of the year is about $82,680. And what I was suggesting was there's a half open admin position right now that's budgeted at $20,189. So, it's somewhat of a compromise. And I know that the chief has a lot of things they need to catch up and do. But originally, that position was going to be just for a temporary period of time. And it was someone that was retiring and going to continue on to do some things. So because that didn't happen, then it was just left as an open halftime admin position. So in any case, I think, the board should maybe be thinking about the staffing level there. I think, the budget committee didn't make any decisions last night regarding any of this. There wasn't any discussion of the half admin position, but that would be the addition to his budget from the prior year in terms of staffing level. The second item was the town administrator's salary is currently at an annual rate of $110,000. So for the purposes of the budget, for the 24 budget, and considering you're going to be looking for a new person, the recommendation is to reduce that to the original 2023 budget of $99,840. So backing that off some, and if you want to, make that a different number, that's great too. But I don't think you should have it at the high end in the budget. And keep in mind that we're looking at an overall 6.9% increase right now. So that's why we're trying to modulate some of these and take advantage of some of the staffing changes. In addition, for the DPW director salary, keeping in mind that the former director was originally hired as the technician and then developed into the director. So it was a combination position. So I would think that somewhere in the upper end would be about 85,000 for a new director coming in, depending upon experience, of course, and depending upon whether they had technician experience. But if it's a director only, it'd probably be in that range. Otherwise, right now we have in the budget at 101,771, which was the former director's current salary. The other thing to keep in mind is if that were reduced, I think the board has got to think about taking some portion of the savings of some of these salaries and putting it into vehicle maintenance lines, because until we have someone that is capable of being the technician and has tools and that sort of thing, we're going to have to sub this work out to somebody. So I think it only stands to reason that those are going to have to be increased somewhat. In general, the way the former director budgeted those things was for major things that or things that he wasn't going to be able to handle. So a lot of the other stuff he did, but they regularly farmed out the tires. They would go over to Northeast, that sort of thing.
Inspections.
Now, the director did all the inspections, and we pay monthly for an inspection machine, which it's not a great deal of money. I think this last month was $42 or $43. It sort of runs in that neighborhood, but there's a real process to get to that point where you can have that inspection machine, and the person has to be certified to be able to do that sort of thing. So I'll have to see, if the board feels as though we're not going to be able to replace that position anytime soon, that would be doing the technician portion, it might just make sense to cancel that for the time being until we're ready to.
So the question is, do we hire a DPW director and a technician? Or do we try to find that 1 in 100 DPW/technician? If we wait for that, we might be waiting for a long time.
So what is the gross cost for mechanic?
I have no idea.
Okay,
I really
what
don't
is
know.
our top pay public works employee? What's their gross?
Well, that would have been our director, which was 100.
No, I mean,
Uh,
without the director, one of the
That the
guys,
director?
just
About,
approximately
yeah, so I can,
60.
more than that, about 63,
Do we have
64.
$63,000 worth of repairs in a year? I would hope not.
Well-
$63,000 worth of repairs? That would be a lot of blown engines and transmissions.
I think one of the things is not that we need a full-time mechanic. It's that possibly we could have a mechanic that would also be a worker. So if you're going to slide somebody more into the director position in
What I
we're
was
doing-
getting at is I think it's more important that we look for a public works director.
Hmm.
I think finding the combination is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
I also think that you can come in, but you just come on in and sit. We're talking about some other stuff. Technician is not only the mechanics of fixing an engine and brakes and things like that, but they're also fixing plows and things, to that. And they break the plows more than they break the trucks and
But most
trailers
mechanics can do that.
and trailers and
That's not
things like that.
bolts and springs,
But so
hydraulic lines, and
are you gonna farm out when you break
we might have to.
a trailer or a plow? Or,
Right now you do.
Or we might be able to share it. So
Would
the
you-
other thing to do is to share a mechanic with another town.
Would
Go ahead.
she like an example of an auto technician? A local dealership is offering, number one, a $5,000 sign-on bonus with the potential of earning over $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
And that's a non-diesel tech. And we
Right.
have to have a diesel tech down there
Right.
too.
John?
So we don't know the skill set of the guys that are down there. And when it comes to repairing a plow, doing welding and doing all those things, I know some of those guys know how to do that and have been doing it.
Well, they
So
do know, but
I-
they
I-
don't know diesel. I've already asked them. They don't know.
But we're not gonna, we have, how many diesel?
Well, we do. We have one.
And we can farm that one out.
Yeah,
Right.
we don't need to hire a full-time
More than one.
mechanic.
There's more than one because the Peterbilt will be one. That 550 is going to be a diesel. So there's more, at least there's more than one diesel down there.
Still, you can't find somebody.
No, you got to farm it out.
But anyway, we don't need to have this conversation right now, do we?
No.
No, so, but my recommendation was that the board should think about how that's going to be done, because right now your ad includes technician preferred. So, so it's just something to keep in mind. And also, I think it does behoove the board to lower the salary that's in the budget, since it's unlikely that you're going to hire somebody at that rate. So, that I would like an answer on tonight, so that can be reflected in the budget, because we do need to find some substantial areas. So, so this is about a $16,771 reduction, and then taking about 2/3 of that and divvying it up into the two vehicle maintenance lines, one for the PD, one for Public Works. And keeping in mind that the Tahoes, while they're under warranty, should probably still go to a dealership. But otherwise, the other vehicles, I think it would be up to them.
Are we answering you on A, B, and C? Because I haven't heard any answers on A at all.
No, and this is something I think you need to discuss more with the chief, or decide how you want to proceed. This is my recommendation. He made a strong case for why he needs that open patrol position, and I think there's there's not as much savings here, but I think over time, the person that's new in that position, that admin position, the full-time admin position, may be up to speed to where they can take on the additional work that was required. I had made the change to B already, and as long as that's a consensus of the board, I'll leave it there. Changing the town administrator
Yes,
salary.
Yes.
and I agree with the Public Works Director as well.
See,
Thank you
agreed.
for that.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
agree on C as well.
Yeah.
I'm a no on the town administrator, but I don't know what the experience is coming in.
well, I think you have an opportunity to assess that, and if you need to increase it because of the qualifications,
Then
you increase it.
We have until February, what did I say, 9th?
all right, then we have to February 9th to decrease it.
But then we eat it for the,
So we have it in there now. Why would you want to decrease it and then increase it if we had to? Why not wait until next week and till we get a pretty good idea and then decrease it?
If you feel as though you'll have more information next week, I think that's fine. But I think it's perfectly reasonable to have it a little bit under, about 10% under the high end. But that's
Well,
just,
it's up to the rest of the board. I'm just one.
Well, we can do a little wage study on it. See what they're getting.
Mhm.
Do a wage study.
I'm just saying, if we get an application in here that
Ain't
has,
much here.
25 years of experience as a town administrator, you're gonna go the high end or the low end, and you already decreased the budget to the low end, and then you'll have to go and increase it again.
I think
That's all.
on the low end, you'd probably be looking at somewhere in the 90, 95 range. So reducing it from 110 to 100, I don't think is too unreasonable. It kind of puts it right in the middle of the overall range for that position. In any case,
Board, Catherine,
Yes.
I mean, yes, to decrease, yes.
Joe,
I'm ambivalent.
I'm a no. Okay,
and so what is that?
John?
Those,
I said yes. to decrease,
there's
yeah.
3 yeses.
all right.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. And then on the DPW salary.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The treasurer had also requested an increase from 3,000 to 4,200 a year. In the 15 years she's been the treasurer, she has not had an increase. And she does spend a considerable amount of time, which I went into way too much detail with last night at the budget committee, but supporting the reconciliation of electronic payments and the additional credit card payments and other types of payments that we now provide for people to be able to use. So, and it's been more than 15 years since she's had an increase. So that was her request. The budget committee said yes, and they approved in their budget column, they approved the $1,200 increase and reduced it from economic development beautification. So it does appear, and I'm just letting you know, when you get to voting on the budget, this is a less of a consequential item. There was a radio recording appliance that's $1,200 a year for the maintenance that's in the IT services line, and it really belongs in the PD tech line because it is a PD appliance. It's the one following the jewelry break-in over at Tanger years ago. The FBI recommended we have, and it records all of our radio traffic. So in any event, that's my recommendation there. And then animal control, reducing that some because of the experience that we've had and the lack of expenses that we've had in that area. And then you can see the PD electricity one. So those
Under animal control, how many years have we had that?
we're going on, I think, the second full year that we've had that. And
But how many years have we had no activity?
the entire time.
5 years? 10 years?
And before that, with our former,
I remember there was 3 pickups the year prior to us switching to this. There were three that went over to was it Birch Hill?
Right.
Yeah, there were 3 pickups that year from our
What was that
municipality.
cost?
We had contracted at $1,500 a year with them.
Right.
Birch Hill was $5,500.
5,500. Yeah.
Right.
But we don't have an animal control officer, right?
We do not.
We call it animal control for it's the per incident.
So there's nobody going around picking up dogs that are off
So
a
what
leash?
happens if we have 3 pickups this year? What is it going to cost us if we have 3 pickups this year?
It's essentially $100 per. That's what the agreement is.
I'll make it $750.
So
I don't agree with
Well, I think if we go over the 500 at $100 a pickup, and we've only had 3 and we had none last year, we could probably find it in the budget.
I would think so. Also, someone on the budget committee mentioned that they think that a lot of the dogs that have been lost or strays, somebody finds one, they put it on Facebook, and all of a sudden, 15 minutes later, someone's going and getting the dog, and
or they scan the chip if they're chipped.
Right.
So.
Yep. So anyway, this isn't something you need to decide on right now, but as you get to when you see your next iteration of the budget, I will.
I keep saying that we're going to be 3 hours on the budget next week.
Well, unfortunately, that's the way
year.
things are right now. Welcome to December. I wish we were further ahead, but this is where we
Tim
are.
wishes he only had 3 hours to spend on it.
I wish I had that. Your first iteration you had was in October. October 5th was the first budget you received. So we are where we are, and those were my recommendations for that.
So I'm looking at D, and I agree with raising that. It's 15 years and doing that from the 3,000 to the 42. How everybody else feels.
I'm in agreement. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Great.
I already did it last.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's one. The only 2 that are left. Do we have an agreement on F?
I think it's pretty safe.
do
Safe
too.
move.
I do too.
Yes.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I agree with Catherine that if let's say we had 6
find it.
if we had 6
Yeah.
pickups,
We could
overspend
find
$100 somewhere. So
It's really irrelevant because it's the budget committee's budget. So
Yeah.
why are we
Well,
squibbling over whether or
Because
not
it's like we want
15
to show that they can cut budget amounts too.
We
okay.
agree or disagree.
doesn't?
Well, and also when we start this, it's much earlier in the year, and we're still sort of waiting to see if there's going to be any expense associated with some of these. The PD electricity, I think that G is an important one to do.
Mhm.
I think that's also going to be safe. And this again is, now that we've been in the building for so long, as they have hired more people, we're probably going to see a little more usage, but we're well cared for in that 20,000 figure. So is that a consensus as well?
I'm a yes on G.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, did it last night.
And then on E, the radio recording appliance, that's simply shifting it from one line in the budget to another. But it really does belong in the PD budget.
I agree.
Yes.
Okay. So that would just leave, for the next time you discuss staffing levels with that item A.
Mhm.
And I will make these changes to the budget. And then unless you have something else for me at this point.
6.
6. Yes. So thank you. So you've already decided what you were going to do for Christmas for the employees.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I had been approached by 2 employees, just wondering how, because of their work schedules, they were having to work when they had planned to be off. I think it's 1 day for each of them, and they weren't going to be able to take the time off. One was because of a meeting that was scheduled that on a day that they were going to be taking off. The planning board is having a special meeting. And then the other one was in the town clerk tax collector's office because of the additional work needed to get the tax bills out. So I would imagine the board would consider either allowing them to carry over 8 hours into the new year, additional over the 80 that they're permitted now, or make some other type of arrangement for them. But those had been brought up. And again, we're Jeannie here. I'm sure she would have covered those with you.
I'm a carryover.
Okay.
Yeah, carryover's fine with me. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Board has spoken.
Thank you, Tim.
Yep, no problem. That's all I got. Appreciate it.
Okay, next on our list is the Hall Memorial presentation. I hope it's not a presentation, but yes, yet a summary on your budget, because you've already given us pretty much videos and all the paperwork we could read. So if you can just give us a quick summary. Again, I'm going to reiterate that we're not the budget committee, we're the selectmen, and it's not the selectmen's budget that goes to town meeting, okay?
Thank you for allowing us to speak tonight. My name is Nancy Court. I'm from Northfield, and I'm a trustee of Hall Memorial Library. So we wanted to respond to the Budget Committee's proposal to level fund our library. And so I had some remarks prepared, but I'm going to make them shorter.
I can't hear you. I'm
You
sorry.
gotta,
Sorry, I'm going to edit my.
Actually, you could use this one right here.
Thank you. Am I there? Okay, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. And so I wanted to point out that as many aspects of our community life have broken down over the past many years, the demands on public library have grown considerably. As with public libraries across the country, our library has been asked to take an increased role in community life. We offer one of the few remaining free public places where all are welcome. And I would like to also point out that our library, the programming portion of our library budget is 7%. It's less than 1% of the budget. And I would also like to point out that the largest component of our budget request is salary increases, which sounds like a ongoing theme for budgets these days. Our current rate of pay is less than that of a fast food restaurant worker. And I believe, well, I know now because I heard last night that many police departments are having similar issues wherein they can't pay an adequate salary that will keep people on the force for a length of time. And we have the same issues at the library. And so I just want to close by saying we're proud of our library. We're proud of our current director. We feel that our budget request is well within reason. It's a 12%. It's a 12% increase over previous, and that is less than cost of living. No, it's less than the current cost of living increases. So we really have tried very hard to keep it reasonable, but still be able to serve our communities to the best of our ability.
So,
So thank you all.
thank you. Board, do you have any questions?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
So do you have with your programming, with the programming that you do, and I know it's extensive. I love getting the email, seeing what's going on every month, and it's wonderful because it's just been really good to see. Do you do tracking by the participants, by town, by municipality? Okay. Okay. So.
Actually discuss that.
You could also say your name, please.
Oh, my name is Brittany Shanahan. I'm the current library director at Hall Memorial Library. We do not currently track by town, but after hearing you guys speak about how the Pines tracks it, it was in our discussion to start doing in 2024.
Thank you, Brittany. You read my mind. So thank you.
I have, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, John. Were you going to say something?
Oh, yeah, but
Go ahead.
if you have a question.
No,
for
go ahead.
Nancy, go right ahead.
I was going to ask a couple of questions. Do you require your staff, and I have no idea how much staff you have, I don't, do you require your staff for certification as librarians?
No, we do not.
Okay. And so none of the staff have any library degrees at all? Okay.
No.
And I don't kind of know how to ask this question.
I could answer part of your
Okay, go ahead, John.
first question, is that there used to be a certification process in the state when I worked at the state library many years ago. And it was through the Granite State College, which was School for Lifelong Learning. And we had a certification program for individuals who were either in the director's position or on the library staff, where they were required to take those courses for certification. That was disbanded years ago by not the current state librarian, but his predecessor, unfortunately, in my opinion. And there is no requirement by the state to have a master's degree. From my own experience, today, what I learned in library school would not help me to be a library director. It's really boots on the ground in many cases with the way that technology has increased and advanced. So I don't see a piece of paper as being a plus or a minus. I think it's the experience and the know-how and the ambition to do the job. And we have a person on here who's been at the library for 15 years in various positions and as an assistant director. So that doesn't bother me, and I'm a professional librarian. So if Nancy doesn't have anything, I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Can I just say
one
thing? As John said, we do not require our staff to be certified, and I think it would be kind of a stretch to expect people who are getting fast food worker pay to expend any of their own money on certification. But also, I would like to say that obviously a degree is often useful in advancing people's career. However, I think maybe even equally useful is a person who takes their career seriously enough to engage in continuing education And our current director is such a person. She is constantly in communication with other librarians, with library organizations across the country. She is constantly upgrading and improving her knowledge of libraries and how to run them. So yes, a degree is certainly a valuable thing, but also so is somebody who puts forth the effort to do it on their own. Thank you.
Thank you. I kind of was going there. That was my next question, because I wanted to find out what was relative in regards to why you chose an increase in wages. What was the criteria? Was it education? Was it work?
Why we chose, I didn't hear the first part. I'm losing my hearing.
Why you chose what you did in the increase in wages?
Oh, I see.
Was it education? Was it increase in?
Yeah.
I can answer part of that question, and that is because our staff is earning 100% of the staff is earning below the poverty level. So just let that sink in a little bit. Brittany does do a lot of education on her own. There are different outlets. One's called Web Junction, the State Library, the New Hampshire Library Association. They offer educational courses, and she takes advantages of those. So if I may continue with my statement, I took some time to prepare this. That's why I wanted to express myself. I don't get to, I usually see you online, and you look great in person, I tell you. Well, it's kind of blurry, and yeah. Scott looks much older online.
Thank you. That's a good recovery.
Anyhow, my name is John Barrett, so good evening, and I'm a resident of Tilton, and I live at 94 Winter Street. As Nancy said, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak before you tonight, and I will try to keep my remarks brief and to the point. I am here in the capacity of being a library trustee. I was appointed in September of this year as one of the lifetime, I don't know how long that'll be, but a lifetime trustee representing Tilton. And I will spare you the history of the library. Doubtless you know a lot about the history of the library, when it was built and so forth. And I will not take up your time with reading the library mission statement, although I encourage you to go online to the library's website and read that mission statement, please. The library is on the National Historic Register, the building, the original building, and that is because it has one of the finest examples of Queen Anne architecture in all of New Hampshire, something that we're very proud of. So I attended in person the first presentation of the Tilton Budget Committee, where the library presented its 2024 budget request. And I watched the successive meetings online. Usually I watch yours, but I took the time to watch the Budget Committee. I appreciate the role of the important role of the Budget Committee, because it plays, for what it plays, setting forth how the local taxpayers' money is to be spent. However, I was absolutely stunned by some of the questions that were raised and the comments that were made by the current Budget Committee members. Rather than discussing the fiscal impact of our proposed budget, committee members proceeded to criticize matters of library policy. For example, library programming, library fines, and compensation of library staff. Library policies are the unique purview of library trustees, who are the governing board of a public library as contained within RSA 202A. So if you're not familiar with that, I encourage you to look at those revised statutes annotated. So the Budget Committee seems to be unaware of how public libraries are evolving in the 21st century. One might even feel embarrassed for them and wonder when was the last time they had even set foot in a library, based on the questions and comments that they made. The number of Hall Memorial Library users is robust. The library is a place for the community and for refuge, for learning and knowledge, and for reading and discovery. The library provides essential and vital programming and resources, including access to books, e-books, and audiobooks. We serve the patrons of all ages across Tilton and Northfield, free of charge. We can defend the library's 2024 budget proposal with data, nevertheless remaining open to compromise. The Tilton Budget Committee's decision to level fund the Hall Memorial Library is disobliging, in my opinion, and a disservice to this town. That's based on my attending a meeting and watching them. And that is basically all I have to say. And if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Go ahead,
Just
Scott.
one quick one, and at some point in time, you'll understand why I ask. Is there any programming throughout the year that there's a fee for any person to use? Just,
I'd have to ask Brittany, but I would just
and this
preface
is, it's
that.
not an indictment, by the way. It's
I
just,
know.
it's just gathering information.
I will let Brittany address that, but I will preface it by saying that the library, the public library, is not a for-profit.
Correct.
We are
I know
not
that.
into collecting revenue. Brittany?
So this past year, we have not held a program that required a fee. In the past, we have collected $5 for material costs.
So minimal and
Minimal.
material costs. Okay.
You got more than that?
No, I'm good. That's all I
Okay.
need. It's fact collecting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? John?
John?
No, I noticed John brought up that you have the different ebooks and the books and periodicals and all that. I think you missed a couple of things. Cultural passes, library to other libraries, and like museums and stuff like that.
Yes.
You used to have those.
Yes, I've used them myself.
Yeah.
We have movies. We have, in addition to the audiobooks, the ebooks, we have a lot of other materials that we circulate.
I think you have tickets, like tickets to go to the museums or something still.
Yes, we have them for the Science Museum.
Yeah, we have
Courier.
the Courier Art Museum, Krista McAuliffe, the Shepherd McAuliffe Discovery Center, the Squam Lake Science Center, the Sea Science Center, the New Hampshire Telephone Museum, the Children's Museum of New Hampshire, the Mount Kearsarge Indian Museum, the Aviation Museum. I think those are all the ones we currently have.
Do we have the one for the war? Did you mention the war one up in Wolfboro? I don't know if we have that one or not. We don't have it. The Wright Museum, yeah. One we might want to look into. It's popular.
Yeah.
I just I don't get there enough. Pat and I went to a little community night where folks hosted a thing where people come in and meet with the selectmen. And I found that there was a wide range of age groups there, from kids right up to adults, and they were kind of hanging out, working on little art projects. Some were sewing, the other ones, I think, even had ukulele lessons up there, or you can rent a ukulele. So
Yes, we have an
I
extensive library of things, including, snowshoes and
or not rent, you could borrow a ukulele.
you can borrow the ukulele, you can borrow the snowshoes, we have, astrology kits and bug hunting kits and a telescope and an extensive library of things that we mostly procured through various grants that we applied for through the state library.
And I'm very appreciative that in the days where everybody's going electronic, that we still have that there.
Right. I, for one, appreciate you coming in. I think for now, I mean, we'll be voting on ours at probably the end of the year, first of the year. But your next step would be the public hearing. I think you have the date, right? I
believe it's in January, and I think
I don't think we've set the
I don't
date.
think they've said it.
The budget committee hasn't set
No.
the date for their
Okay.
first public hearing.
So that would be your next step to all attend the public.
we would look forward to that
And
opportunity.
and then if they still remain, or the budget doesn't change, then you have town meeting to voice your opinion,
Yes.
particularly town residents, and then you can ask the moderator to have a spokesperson from another town to speak, so you can all speak. They did that at the Pines when the budget was cut. And that would be your last resort, but not the last. I mean, not the least, I should say.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
The chairman of the budget committee also suggested that they come in to the budget meeting during a public time.
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry, Joe. Joe was coughing. I just couldn't hear you. Go ahead.
I don't really need this. The chairman of the budget committee suggested that they come in to a budget committee meeting during the public input time. And as they did tonight,
Oh, okay.
present the budget committee, it was, I don't remember how the vote went, but to have them come in and formally present their budget again was voted down. But again, the chairman suggested they come in and during a public time, public input,
There you go.
and have maybe a short presentation or.
I would suggest that, Nancy. I would suggest
during
suggest that.
The budget
Again.
committee, there's always we always ask for public input. Does the public want to speak to us? Do they have anything they want to add? And everybody is welcome to come in during that time. So if you can come in with a condensed, not a full presentation, but maybe some more information or, something more clear. Mr. Barrett, you said things that I didn't hear during the budget meeting discussion that might be
I mean,
helpful to the
would that
budget
make
committee.
more sense for us to do that versus waiting until the public hearing?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, it's another option.
Okay.
It's another
I
opportunity.
don't know what more information I can present.
Well, as I said, Mr. Barrett said
Yeah.
some things that I had never heard before.
Right.
They were in the second packet.
Mhm.
So things like that. I mean, if you can come up with some.
Sometimes reading a packet and people saying the packet, it's very different. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time for you to give,
Right.
a whole big
Right.
presentation. But
I thought we did that at the first presentation, and then following up, I know that Brittany attended one online.
That was a select board.
Yeah, that was here. With
Oh,
us.
that was the select
Board
board,
of Selectmen.
excuse me. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Right. So that would be, if I understand you correctly, Catherine, that's sort of us going a second time in front of the budget committee.
It's appearing during our
Public
come to a
hearing?
budget committee meeting. As I said, the chairman suggested this, that you come to the budget committee meetings. We're meeting next Wednesday, and ask to be heard during our, public input time. But it wouldn't be, 30 minutes or 45 minutes of a discussion. It could be 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes.
Okay. Well, that's some consideration.
I think sometimes the old adage, the squeaky wheel gets some oil, and the number of times that you squeak
Oh,
can
we can
help as
squeak
well.
pretty loud.
So,
Yeah.
so I was about to say, for folks who make on average below what the poverty level is, taking the time to come this evening and taking the time to go to public session of the budget committee, we understand your dedication, and I think that you'll get some folks who will also understand it as well.
Great. Okay.
And
Would that be posted? Would that be posted on the website?
the budget committee meetings?
Yeah.
Yes, they're on the calendar.
Okay. They're usually Wednesdays, right?
Yes.
Wednesdays at 6, I believe. Yeah.
Right here.
Oh,
Right here.
you know, I take it
Yes.
back. Right now, we're currently planning on meeting on Wednesday, but it's on the condition of the sewer commissioners appearing. If they can't appear, then we'll meet the following Wednesday. But it will be on the website calendar.
Okay. I guess I'm a little confused because I thought when we appealed to the budget committee, they reviewed it and then they decided they weren't going to make any changes and it was level funded. That's how I understand from what I watched.
The decision was that they weren't going to hear again from the budget committee as far as a full-blown presentation. But as the chairman said, anybody is welcome to come and speak during the public time.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I got it.
And perhaps it might be helpful for the budget committee members if you sent out something that more showed the comparisons of your salaries, your employees' wages,
To other
rather than
communities.
comparing them to other communities. Just itemize their wages. So I look at a lot of budgets, so I'm sorry, I don't remember yours exactly, and I don't remember how many employees you have, but if you have somebody that comes in part-time for how many hours a week, what is that hourly rate?
Oh, yeah, that was included in our budget submission.
Because you compared it to fast food, and somebody said that 100% of your employees were below the poverty line.
Yeah,
I
the
don't
poverty
believe that
line for New
information was
Hampshire is
provided.
50,000. Well, I assumed that the budget committee knew that the poverty line was 50,000 for New Hampshire, and I did provide our wages.
I'm just saying, just to.
Yeah.
So what I'm
don't assume.
suggesting is a condensed presentation of what you did before. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Those things that might be more pertinent and direct.
Okay.
I mean,
Thank you.
add to it or subtract to what I just said, but I'm just trying to be helpful.
No. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for
Right.
the opportunity.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night. Okay, next up, we need to talk about
Good night.
voting in an election place. We have the school, but they can't open up until 8 p.m. that evening. Am I correct? They
I looked
can't.
at the email for a while, but I believe
There's a basketball
he
game.
said that it would be at least 7:30 before they started to put down the
Right.
Correct. Yeah, there's
the flooring.
correct. There's a basketball game taking place that evening. And so they wouldn't be able to put down the cover on the floor until after the gym was cleared out. Everyone was out of the gym, and they were estimating 7:30-ish. So,
Which means that's what, an hour to put the cover
So
on the
isn't
gym?
it an hour?
I don't, there's
It takes
Probably,
all
yeah.
of an hour.
yeah, because they have to tape it too.
So that means our guys wouldn't get in there until probably 8:30, 9 o'clock in the
Well,
evening.
no, once it's down, if we can get in there at 7:30,
No, they can't start putting the floor down
Oh,
until
I thought they would
7:30.
be done by 7:30.
No, that's
No,
what he
the
said. He
basketball.
thought he could start.
Yeah.
That's
Then
when he,
that doesn't work out.
S- s-
Or we start setting it up at 5 a.m.
Well, that my question on that when I looked at it is there a possibility to at least stage our things, stage the stuff somewhere or on the stage
Like
behind the
on the
screen?
stage.
Yeah, behind the screen, which would be on the other. I'm just
Get stuff in the
just
building.
asking, just have the
We've
things
done
in the
that
building.
before.
Yeah, and
had
then
it in the building, no, we can't put it in the hallway because the
no,
last time they said that they wouldn't allow it in the hallway,
just it'll be a safety hazard when they have a crowd in there. But is there another?
especially a basketball game.
Yeah, is there another space? Whether it would be up, just brainstorming up on the stage behind this to be able to bring down, and then, as Joe's suggesting, I think it would be asking our DPW crew how much time do they need, and if they had, I mean, if they were to come in early in the morning and get that
If
done.
we open up at 7, you're going to ask them to come in at, 4:30,
4
5
o'clock.
o'clock,
Yeah,
4
yeah,
o'clock.
I know, yeah.
But
So
you
a.m.
have to remember that the clerk, the town clerk, and the moderator and the ballot clerk
Have to be there at
I'll
6.
have to be there.
The
Yeah.
town
And I
clerk and the
will say
moderator
that
definitely
although
have to be there.
Public Works is very instrumental in moving around the
Yes.
bigger pieces of gear, they don't set up voting. That's done primarily by the clerks and the
Correct.
ballot clerks and
Yeah,
all the
But
rest of
the
those people
setup
who are all
is
volunteers.
our responsibility.
Hmm.
It is our responsibility to set it up, even though other people have helped us in the past. It's the Board of Selectmen's responsibility.
Well, I'll volunteer to stay up as late as it takes.
But you're asking those poll workers, the moderator and the clerk,
To be there at night.
be there that late at night and then have
Right.
to get up
They
at
have to be
5.
there when they set it up, or they have,
Yes.
what is that?
Yeah.
it has to be
Oh, yeah,
set
yeah,
up
yeah.
correctly.
They have to
Yeah.
Moderator has to
confirm
be
that
for
it's
sure.
set up properly.
Yep.
That's right.
So
And then they set up their
Distances roped off correctly,
stations,
etc.
whatnot.
Prior to it opening in the morning.
Correct.
That's right. So then you're asking
And then
them
you're
to get up
asking them to
at
put up,
5 o'clock in the morning so they can be there in time.
and then 10 hours.
Well, the thing I'm concerned about is moving the location of the polls. And every time we've done that, it's been a big issue with, people, they don't know where it is, they get lost or
Mhm.
all that.
Maybe it's because we
And
don't advertise it soon enough.
handicap access.
And this primary, I have a feeling, is going to be very well attended.
Could it go back to the middle school?
I don't know about the middle school and all.
They didn't want us in the middle school because their gym entries are not handicap accessible. So those voting would have to go through the school and then out through the school. And that's what they objected to because it was a safety hazard. The last year that it allowed us there, we had two policemen, I believe, in the lobby, one for people that came out and one at the other entrance. I mean, people that came in and one at the other entrance as people left.
What would be, so EOC is not big enough, right? Using the exit from the parking lot?
The Emergency Operations Center at the PD is, I believe, not big enough. You'd have to ask the moderator. But that was the opinion of the previous moderator, that area was not large enough. By the time you set up the voting booths, and then our numbers of population requires us to have tabletop voting booths, and then you have 2 tables for the ballot clerks, you have the 2 tables for the supervisors, and then you have the moderator stuff. The distances that things have to be spaced out, there's not enough room because you have to remember, we also have to provide a space outside of the voting area for spectators.
And there's actually the space where they can sit inside and watch the registration go on too. So
Well, there's
So then we set up early.
It's a labyrinth.
So, well,
That's exactly what it is.
we can't set up early. Then the moderator's got to be there early.
What?
Are
So
there
what
things that
does-
we could set up and then adjust in the morning if we have to.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's what I was.
yeah, adjust in the morning if we
What
have to
does a
adjust in the morning.
moderator have to
We
do?
don't know that question because the moderator's not here to answer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we have the drawings and the sketches and we're gonna do it, we've done it a couple times and taken it down a couple times.
Yeah.
I'm willing to go, I don't care, I'll take the next day off of work, come in again, whatever it takes to get this one election done.
I'll be there whenever we are gonna do it.
Ditto.
We'd probably have to have Public Works, or at least 3 of them there.
They can bring all their stuff in
They set up,
prior to that, I'm
So they
sure.
could put it in the cafetorium.
Yeah.
And
and
if
then
we,
haul it all back to the gym.
hang
Why
on,
not
hang
just
on,
leave it
hang
in the
on.
back of the
I
truck?
have a plan, hang on.
Carts.
If it's on carts in the cafetorium, okay, then when the basketball game is over, we can wheel the carts. I've wheeled those things and carried them on for the past 15 years, 20 years since I've been doing it. Two-wheelers or whatever to get it done.
Those long,
We use,
long,
No, the ones that the tables are on.
wait,
So where are the tables gonna be?
the
we
ones
get
that
set up.
the chairs are on.
We can pull
So
the
you're gonna
tables
take
off,
the
go back
tables
and
off
haul
and then
them.
go get the stuff.
Yeah.
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 But you still
Or
need
I've got,
Public Works to set
I've
up
got-
the booths, or are you suggesting you're gonna do it
I've
yourself?
taken the boots down for the last 15 years too.
Well, I know.
You know, whatever
have
it
too,
takes. If
but-
I have to stay there and do it myself till 4 o'clock in the morning, I'll do it.
But then you also have the issue of the moderator has been very adamant that she's not gonna be there at 9 o'clock at night trying to set up.
But what do they have to set up?
Why don't,
Because
Well,
everything has
no,
to be
we'd
done
have to
that
ask
morning.
The moderator.
Physically, all the equipment, all the chairs, all the voting booths
you
can
can't
be.
Voting
bring,
machine
you
is not
I
there,
didn't,
the
I was,
ballot's up there.
no, I was, yeah,
can't bring in that until the
but you can't
moderator's
leave
here.
the ballots there
No, but
overnight
I mean,
unattended.
You can't,
those types of things, there's
can't
stuff.
bring in.
And as I was saying,
Those things can't come in
physically,
until the day of.
yeah, and what I was saying, physically, all the tables, the chairs,
The ropes.
the voting booths, the ropes, and all that will be in the right place,
They usually bring
or
in
they would normally arrive
the
on
voting
the next morning.
machine carcass, but you know,
No, but I mean, there are things that come in.
Hmm.
can you
Why
check?
don't you see if does anybody have a cellular phone?
Mm-hmm.
We could call Helen.
Okay.
Do you have your flip phone?
It's in the
You don't have
car.
your-
I don't keep that thing in my pocket.
You don't have Helen?
Pat's gonna do a shout out. This is like the cash cab.
Shout out to Helen Hanks. Do not.
I mean, it would make this conversation easier because I like your idea.
I'll stay up all night.
Until
You don't have to, and I'm not
I don't
committing
have-
anybody else.
I know,
to
but
either. That's,
I can.
it's just. Pat Constantino in the back of the cash cab today. Go ahead, ask your question.
Hello, Helen Hanks is not available. Please leave your.
Oh, dumb. I'm sorry. Dumb. I know where they are. They're not home.
No kidding.
I just remembered when Jason came in last
Well,
night.
you have a little bit more time. I think
You
we
got a
can make
little
it
more
work.
time, but you don't have to think about
Right.
it. The other thing, so the other possibility is, and I know because we looked at it a number of years ago, is the Catholic Church has that auxiliary building. And he was more than happy to have our elections there. But I'm like, John, if we switch, if it will work and we switch, we stay there. Switching back and forth is, when we switched from the middle school to the high school, it wasn't pretty.
Okay. So you're gonna check with Helen and you're gonna report back to us. Maybe Helen can email us.
I was just gonna say, I'm gonna have her email me or at least text me
The group. Okay,
Yeah, or I'll take notes.
okay,
I'll just call in sick to work that day.
all right.
I'll be free in the afternoon.
The time being 8 o'clock. I make a motion to move into non-public for RSA 91A:3 the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of a public employee, or the disciplining of such employee or investigation of any charges against him or her, unless the employee affected has a right to a public meeting to request the meeting be open, in which case the request shall be granted.
Second.
Second by Catherine Dawson. Roll call vote.
Jessamine, yes.
Ruggles, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
Dawson, yes.
Constantino, yes.
This conference will now be recorded.
I'd like to seal the minutes of the non-public because disclosure would adversely affect the reputation of a person other than a member of the borough board.
Second, Scanlon.
Excuse
All
me.
those in favor?
No, I have a discussion. The person that we talked to last, shouldn't we make that announcement in public?
Once you sign and it's countersigned.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Because it's not a done deal. Technically not a done deal.
My brain is kind of.
Okay.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now, motion to.
I'll take care of this one. Motion to adjourn.
Ruggles, second.
All those in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
I'm confused.
It'll all become clear in a second.
Very clear.
I don't
Aye.
usually trust like this.
Okay, we're done.
Got everybody?
Okay.